As you have clicked on this video, chances are that you are planning to apply to universities in 2025 and get selected. Trust me, I have been there before I finally secured a fully funded scholarship in the UK. In this video, I will share 10 things I wish I knew before making university application, lessons that could help you save time, reduce stress, and increase the chances of selection. Hello all of you, I'm Raza, a doctoral researcher at the University of Southampton. This video is part of the admission framework series that I'm running on my channel to help you with the university application. So if you are planning to make university application, you might consider subscribing to my channel as well. Let's dive into the top 10 essential tips. The first advice that I want to give you is to save yourself from information trap. When I was making application, I found that I was wasting a lot of time in collecting information about all sorts of scholarships available in the UK for PhD students. Later I found that I don't need all this information because I was really overwhelmed by all sorts of information about how to make application and so many more things. But then I found that why not just focus on the process of application and then collect information, go for information as and when required. Of course, you need to keep a few things always in mind, that is the application deadline, what are the applications to make, things like that. Sorting out universities, deciding what all potential supervisors to approach, or if you are applying for masters, what all programs to apply for, all this information you need. What I exactly mean to say is that you should not collect all the information passively. Rather, enter the process of application and then collect information. The second important thing is to block time for international application. And this is true in general for everything you want to do in your life. If you are finding yourself procrastinating on something, you should go and find out that in previous 1 week, how much time you have allocated for the thing. So the thing is that the moment you block your calendar and you know that for the next 2 hours, you have to search for potential supervisor, or in the next 2 hours, you have to write your statement of purpose, things like that. If you start blocking time, you will start realizing that you're spending more time on making your application better. And the more time you give on the actual core process, the more your chances of selection will increase. Start blocking calendar, note down the deadlines of scholarships and other details, and accordingly block some time in your calendar every day. You can use Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, any calendar that you are comfortable with, but there has to be some mechanism. For example, you are customizing your CV and you are giving 2 hours for it. That 2 hours are really a focused deep work that you are doing. So if you go and enter that process, you will find that your documents are getting better and better, and then you are getting more replies from potential supervisors and all that. So start blocking calendar for your international application and decide in hand that how many hours in a week you want to spend in it, and track your progress, that how much progress you are making every week. And hopefully in a few weeks, you will find yourself in a better position to decide what all universities to apply, right? The third advice is to stay in organized chaos rather than absolute complete chaos. And this is very important. The thing is that even if you are not in information trap, still there will be so many things going on at the same time that it may get difficult to manage everything. There may be the case that you have got to email a few potential supervisors, or you have to evolve some of your documents, or you will have to make corrections in some of your documents, or you will have to sort out some of the documents, or you will have to select some more universities, or shortlist some of the potential supervisors, or face a PhD interview in the coming week. So simultaneously different things will be going on. So it is very important to stay organized, and for that you can use Excel sheet or Notion app or any app that suits you. Even you can write manually on a diary if that suits your preference. The fourth important thing is to focus on the foundations. Once you have decided not to go in the ocean of information, once you have decided to block some time, and now you are organized and keeping track of things, the first important step to take is to get to know that what are the documents you need to prepare for your application, and then start preparing each document and start giving some time. And this is the most important aspect of your application, because at the end you will be judged on the basis of your documents that you will submit. Even you will get an interview call or not will depend on the documents that you are submitting. So focus on preparing your document. Another advice I want to give you is to tailor your document for each degree for which you are applying, for each program for which you are applying. If you are applying in different universities in different programs, you should tailor your document accordingly. I won't say much about it because I have already made a few videos. For example, I have made a video on how to tailor your CV and how to tailor your statement of purpose. I'm linking it down below. You can go and check those videos on how to tailor your document according to the degree for which you are applying. I hope that will help you, and let us move to the next point. Save yourself from imposter syndrome. I have seen some of the students having a lot of self-doubt. First thing I want to say is that self-doubt is a very common thing in academia. Almost everyone you will find will have a little bit of self-doubt, but still it should not be hindrance in your application process. For example, back in India, one student called me and literally told me that he got selected in a university, but he is in fear to join. And I told him that there are more than 500 students in the university in that particular program itself. Do you feel that you are less intelligent than all 500 students? It is not possible at all. There will be some students who are better than you in some aspects. You will be better than them in some aspects. And it is always a spectrum where you are good in some things, bad in some things. There is no individual who is good in everything. There is no individual who is bad in everything. Maybe you are very sincere. Maybe you have very good critical thinking skill. Maybe you are good in some aspects. So you should not feel that whether you will fit in or not. Once you are making an application, seeing that you are a good match and convincing the admission committee that you are a good match and preparing your document accordingly, you should be confident enough that you may get selected. And once you get selected, you will of course fit in. Universities make sure to select those students who will fit in. So don't self-reject yourself. And don't be an imposter to the extent that it is a hindrance for your application process. The only guarantee that you will not get selected is by not applying. When you are applying, there is a chance of getting selected. Another important aspect is to know how to face rejections. Because if you're applying, no matter how intelligent, how talented you are, it may be possible that early in your application, in your first few applications, you are unable to understand that how to find whether you are a good match or not. So based on several factors, you can get rejected. I know few people who got rejected from several universities and then got accepted at Oxford. So you never know in which university you will get selected, because there are a lot of things that goes into an application, right? And some of the things that is out of your control may not work for you and may be the reason for your rejection. So rejection is the part of the application process, and you should embrace yourself after every rejection. For example, in my case, I got accepted at a university. I got the offer letter from the university as well, but then the scholarship committee rejected my scholarship application, and I was like crushed that I did everything to get my application right. I got acceptance, I appeared in the interview, everything was perfect, but the scholarship committee had their own considerations, and that year there were only 3 scholars they were funding. Out of all the applicants, only 3 international students got a scholarship, and I was not one of them. Yeah, it was very difficult, but then I embraced myself, I backed myself, and facing rejection is the skill that you need to have in academia, because there can be multiple cases where you will have to face rejections because things are out of your control. For example, there may be cases where journals may reject your article stating that this article is not a good fit. Or there can be several cases in which maybe if you are a PhD student like me, many a times when we run a statistical model, it does not work, and then we will have to go and check that why things are not working. And some of the times we have to accept the things like they are, right? So this is the skill that you need to have. So don't worry when you are facing rejections. Know that there can be multiple reasons for rejection, and there may be a case where everything will go in your favor, just that you will not get the final scholarship, like in my previous case. But later I got fully funded scholarship and I was very happy after that. So don't stop after rejections. And that's my next point, that is to evolve your application after every rejection. If you are getting rejected, go and find out that what can be the reason. Sometimes they state you the reason as well. Sometimes they mention that the reason behind this decision is the fact that your research proposal lack in-depth understanding of the issues, things like that. If you get such type of comments, then you should evolve your documents for next application. If you keep evolving after each rejection, it will be highly likely that you will get selected at a university maybe better in rank than the university that rejected you. That also happens with a lot of students. So don't lose hope, rather keep working, keep progressing, and keep trying. That is the key. Another thing that I want to share is that there are multiple ways of showing that you are a suitable candidate for the degree for which you are applying. So focus on the uniqueness of your application. It may be the case that you are working for the last 5-6 years and you are now planning to apply to a PhD program. It may be the case that you have a good teaching experience. It may be the case that you have a field experience from your previous work, right? So there can be multiple ways. It may be possible that you have very good credentials from your master's and undergraduate and you are a fresh student without any gap. So focus on what is special for you. Why I'm sharing this is that when I was making PhD application, I was a lot worried that I don't have any publication, and there are students with 2-3 publications. Later I found that publication is not the only requirement. Rather, I can focus on what is unique in my application, and accordingly I can proceed, and let's see how things work for me. So if you are having one or two things good, maybe you don't have very good marks in your masters, but still, if after masters you have done some good work, or maybe you have a publication, then in your case publication can be a very good thing for you, right? So accordingly find out that what is the unique thing in your application. The last thing that I want to share is that even if you try everything and still you don't get selected, don't be disheartened, because you are more than your PhD for which you are applying. For example, I know a few students who are writing very good thesis and getting published in very good journals after doing PhD from a university that is not that recognized on paper in ranking and other terms. So it may be the case that your potential supervisor is a very good person, he is ready to help you, and you are ready to give in hours and hours of work, and you can still do very good in your life. So don't get disheartened, hold your back and focus on what are the things you can achieve given the circumstances that you have got, and always try to push that limit. So that will help you in your life in general and in academia too. So don't get disheartened. Maybe if you haven't got selected for your masters, you can get selected in PhD. Maybe if you haven't got selected for PhD, you will do postdoctorate from some very good university that you want to target. So know it that we all have our journeys, and you can do well and write good thesis beyond boundaries. So these were my top 10 advices. I hope it will help you, and if you have any query, you can put it in the comment section. I will try to answer your query or make another video on that. That is also a possibility. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.